It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Prime Ticket presents the Dodgers as they take on the New York Mets. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Thursday evening to you, wherever you may be. The Mets are in town. They beat the Dodgers 5 out of 7 last year, doing a number here, winning 3 out of 4. The Mets arrive 4.5 games in third place behind Washington. The Dodgers, as you probably know, are in a flat-footed tie with San Francisco. Dodgers limp home with a 4-game losing streak. They lost 8 out of 9 on the road trip. The Mets arrive here having homered in the last few games and trying to look for more. Big Chris Young will be on the mound with a record of 1-1. Young has never really pitched that well against the Dodgers. Chris Capuano, a former Met, he's 0-4 against his old club. We'll get to the ball game and a whole lot more coming up right after this. By your Hyundai dealers, who invite you to come test drive the 35 miles per gallon Highway 2012 Sonata. Visit mysocalhyundai.com. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By CarMax, start the search for your next car at CarMax. And by Dodge.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Moments away from Dodger Baseball hosting the Mets. Now, they say in this game you don't want to overthink things. That might be impossible when you have two really smart pitchers on the mound. It's our Hyundai key to the game. I mean, you have Chris Young for the Mets, Princeton grad. His thesis was on Jackie Robinson and his integrating baseball, the impact it had. And then you have Chris Capuano, Duke. Kenny, I mean, he's an economics major, Phi Beta Kappa.
I mean, come on, economics. First of all, I think he was if he was really smart,
yeah,
he would have had his second Tommy John before he started playing baseball, because that's when he started to put up his good numbers.
I see.
After that.
I haven't had a chance to really have a lot of conversations with Chris Young, but I'm way over my head when I talk to Capuano. He says some words that I've never heard before. And the reason why I know he's a really smart guy is because I actually saw him on the plane coming home from the game last night reading a book. A baseball player reading a book? Kidding me? Doesn't happen.
No, especially on those planes when you have TV. That's what most people are doing. Yeah. Or sleeping. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this matchup and hopefully see the Dodgers play a couple of runs. They could use them. When we come back, first pitch, Vince Scully has the call. We'll see you for Dodgers Live after the game.
Dodger Baseball is brought to you by Jack in the Box. You can try the new Chipotle Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. By San Manuel Indian Bingo and Casino, now celebrating 26 years of fun. Visit sanmanuel.com for details. By The Amazing Spider-Man in theaters July 3rd. And by Time Warner Cable. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. Welcome to Dodger Stadium. The Mets are in town, opening up a 4-game series and a 7-game homestand with New York, followed by Cincinnati. Terry Collins has spent quite a time in the Dodger organization before moving around to manage at various places. He once upon a time was an infielder in the Pirate organization. Terry managed the Houston Astros. He managed the then California Angels, and he arrives here having been named the manager of the Mets in November of 2010. For Terry, his club was a 4-game losing streak, but that's history. They exploded for 17 runs against the Chicago Cubs. To give you a couple of ideas about the Mets overall, they're not a home run hitting team, and they don't steal a lot of bases. Their runners are aggressive, and they've been picked off a lot. They take a lot of called 3 strikes. However, they draw a ton of walks. They drive in runs. They score with 2 out. The bench may be as good a bench as there is in the National League. They advance their runners. They don't swing and miss at pitches. They rarely swing at the first pitch. They do well against left-handers. They are a very young offense. Their hitters, 25 years or younger, makes them about 34% higher than the rest of the National League. They're hitting well with men on base, and they score late in the game. Pretty good for a ball club that arrived 4.5 back of Washington in 3rd place. Their lineup goes this way. The center fielder, Andres Torres, you may remember him with the Giants. Shortstop, Ruben Tejada, and then you have David Wright at 3rd base. Lucas Duda in right field. Scott Hairston, Jerry's younger brother, is in left field. Ike Davis at first base. Daniel Murphy will be at second base. Mike Nickus will be behind the plate, and Chris Young on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers, Chris Capuano with a 9-2 record, 11-12 at the Mets. However, his record lifetime is 0-4, but he's not pitched against New York in about 5 years. He's trying to become the 5th Dodger to go into the All-Star game with at least 5 wins, no losses, and an ERA under 2. Tops Sandy Koufax, who went into the Stars in 1963 with a record of 7-0. So the right-hand hitting Andres Torres runs well, has stolen at least 1 base in 4 straight games. Torres hitting, however, just .212. 1 home run, 19 runs batted in. Capuano's first pitch in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Andres Torres from Puerto Rico has always been a stay-stealing threat, has stolen as many as 65 in the minor leagues. 0-1 the count as Capuano looks into Matt Trainer. The strike 1 pitch is on the outside corner at the knees, and the count 0-2. So Andres Torres trying to get something started against Capuano on a beautiful evening. Temperature 75 degrees. Here's the strike 2 pitch on the way, and it's a breaking ball low, ball 1, 1-2. For the New York Mets, they've had 8 home runs in their last 4 road games, and they had 4 against the Cubs yesterday. Murphy, Davis, and Hairston. Murphy hit 2 of them. The 1-2 pitch in there, strike 3 call. So Andres Torres goes down looking, and we have 1 out here in the first inning, and Ruben Tejada coming up. Torres doesn't say anything, just drops his head and walks off. And now Tejada climbing in. So Torres quietly back into the dugout. Ruben Tejada is from Panama. He was signed 6 years ago as a free agent by the Mets. A couple of years ago, he really took up some extensive weight training program. He's an even 6, but he's only about 165 pounds. Hitting .301, takes a strike. He has 10 runs batted in. Brett's brought him up from Buffalo. So Tejada at the plate with David Wright on deck. Capuano into the windup, comes back, fastball hit to the hole, through into left field for a base hit. So Ruben Tejada, a ground single into left, and that will bring up David Wright, who has always been Mr. Wrong as far as the Dodgers are concerned. David Wright against the Dodgers is hitting .394. I mean, he's just been a one-man gang. For the year, he's second in the league, hitting .357. Going all the way back since 1921, there's only one other hitter to give the Dodgers such a bad time, and he eventually became a Dodger. That was Jim Eisenreich. So the first pitch to Wright, he waits and then swings late, fouls it off. 0-1 to count to David Wright. Wright, among other things, has over 1,000 hits. Only 3 other players have 1,000 hits in fewer games. And you talk about those 3, and you're talking about incredible names. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, and David Wright. Tejada held on by Loney. Tejada is 1 for 2 in stolen bases. Capuano bends at the waist now, straightens up. Strike 1 pitch on the way to David Wright, and it's a check swing foul. Nope, no foul, just got away from Matt Trainer. So it'll be called a wild pitch, sending Tejada to second base. Wright started off and held up, and the pitch kicked away from Trainer. So a single left by Tejada. Wild pitch moves him up a notch, and here's David Wright hitting .394, trying to give the Dodgers yet another bad time. First base open, but 2 strikes on Wright. So Capuano out of his stretch, looks at second, comes back to right way inside. Ball one. 1-2. Wright, one of those rare hitters who is extremely successful and has walked more than he has struck out. He's also been walked intentionally 8 times. Hitting back of him is Lucas Duda, a left-hand batter. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way to David Wright. Capuano delivers, and that's fouled away outside of first base and down the line. 1-2 the count to David. Born in Norfolk, Virginia, but he lives in Manhattan, facing Chris Capuano. David Wright, Hickory High School, drafted in the first round by the Mets back in 2001. Wright has his name joined with Albert Pujols, so that'll give you an idea of what kind of a hitter he is. He takes way inside 2-2. David Wright and Albert Pujols, the only 2 players in big league history who have put together 4 consecutive seasons of 40 or more doubles and 25 or more home runs. David waiting, he'll be 30 in December. Right hand batter waits. 2-2 pitch is inside at the hands. Ball 3. So Capuano had him 0-2. Now working so carefully with Duda on deck. And 3-2 the count to David Wright. Capuano staring in. Wright waiting. Chris in pursuit of his 10th win. Left-hander ready, 3-2, swung on, hit over third and down the line. So Wright delivers again, and he drives in Tejada with a double into the left field corner. So to be honest, when they got to 2-2, you wondered, and Capuano missed on ball 3, and you thought, well, are they going to challenge him again? And they did, and he immediately hooked it over third and down the line. There wasn't a thing Herrera could do. So David Wright delivers again for the umpteenth time for the Mets, and New York jumps out in front 1-0. For Wright, he has 48 runs batted in, hitting just about 360 as he stands at second base with his 26th double. Now Lucas Duda checking in. Duda with 11 home runs, 42 runs batted in. Lucas handcuffed and fouls a pitch back. That one came in on the knuckles. No balls and 1 strike the count. We're just starting, and the Mets are on the board and lead 1-0. So David Wright with D. Gordon directly behind him. 1 out, 1 in. Duda, even though he is an infielder, he also plays the outfield, played a lot in high school, and he had the Tommy John surgery in high school. He takes a strike, and the count 0-2. Duda has been a big contributor. He has 42 RBIs, 32 have come in team victories. Duda went to school at USC, spent 3 years there. He's 6'4" and 240, 26 years old, 7th round pick. 0-2 to Lucas Duda. Capuano off the rubber, a bluff for David Wright. No balls and 2 strikes the count. Only 1 out, first inning, and the Mets are out in front 1-0. Capuano straightens up. Duda waits at the plate, and the strike 2 pitch coming up. Chris looks back at Wright, still not ready, and backs off the rubber. So after Tejada singled and the wild pitch advanced him to second, Capuano was no balls and 2 strikes to Wright. Ran the count all the way to 3-2, and then David doubled. Now he comes right back 0-2 on Duda. The big guy swings at a breaking ball and doesn't get it. So Duda strikes out. That is the second strikeout for Capuano. Breaking ball down and away. So Duda chasing it. And the hitter now is Scott Hairston. So Scott Hairston with his brother watching. And Scotty ready to get in. Scott Hairston is 32. Jerry is 36. Because of the age difference, they rarely grew up playing together, but they certainly played a lot against each other. So Hairston waiting, batting .261. He has a look at a breaking ball for a strike, and the count 0-1. So Jerry looks on as the Kidd brothers at the plate. Scott went to Central Arizona Junior College, and he was rated the top junior college player in the country. And he was eventually drafted by the Diamondbacks in the 3rd round that year. Strike one pitch is a fastball low. 1 ball and 1 strike. On a 1-1 count, and they watch players so carefully. This year, on a 1-1 count, Scott Hairston is batting .636. We'll see what he does now. 1-1. Capuano straightens up. He's down 1-0 in the first inning. Left-handed delivers, and it's punched on the ground to the right side. Nice pick over there by Kennedy to throw him out. So that ball was heading for right field. Adam Kennedy makes a good play, and the Mets settle for 1. And at the end of half an inning, lead 1-0. And the Dodgers try to come back in the bottom of the first with D. Gordon at short, Elian Herrera at third, and Juan Rivera playing left field. James Loney returns to the starting lineup as the cleanup hitter at first base. Scott Van Slyke just called up from Albuquerque to make room for him with Ethier on the sideline. They sent Ivan De Jesus down. Adam Kennedy at second base. Matt Traynor behind the plate. Tony Gwynn in center. Chris Capuano on the mound. On the mound for the New York Mets, Chris Young, who is 6 feet tall, 6 feet 10 to be exact, 260-pounder, and is not the tallest man on the Mets squad. Chris Reddy makes his first pitch to Gordon in for a strike, and the count 0-1. As tall as he is at 6'10", John Roush on the ball club is 6'11". The bunt up along third. Tough play. Right barehand throws and gets him. Wonderful play by David Wright, who's already made the Dodgers aware of him with the base hit to drive in a run. Barehand pick up, off balance throw, and plenty of time. For runners like D. Gordon, they really have to get on base tonight, especially against big Chris Young, because if you can steal a base, he's your man. Over his career, the success ratio of stealing bases against Chris Young, 91%. In fact, a couple of years ago, when he was pitching in the National League for the Padres, the runners were 44-0 against him. His first pitch to Elian Herrera is high. 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the 1-0 pitch on the way. Herrera takes high, ball 2. If there are youngsters watching the ball game, they might ask you the question, and in case you don't have the answer, we'll be happy to give it to you. The 2-0 pitch to Herrera, shows bunt, takes a strike. Who was the tallest person in history? And with evidence that you could not argue about. The tallest person in history, and I'm sure kids watching will think of that. The 2-1 pitch fouled away. The tallest person in history, his name was Robert Pershing Wadlow. He was born in Alton, Illinois. He was 8 feet 11.1 inches in height. He weighed 439 pounds. The 2-2 pitch is fouled away. Wadlow, because of his size and his continued growth, died at the very tender age of 22. But just in case anybody asks you, the tallest man, 8 feet 11.1 inches. Herrera swings, lifts one foul off third. No play as it hits the crowd behind the Dodger dugout, and the count 2-2. Couple of notes about Chris Young. He's been hurt on the 0-2 count. He has done a very good job shutting down left-hand batters in his career. He usually does better in the first half of the season than the second half. Chris Reddy and his 2-2 pitch over the way is promptly hit into center field, but right at the glove of Andres Torres, who was playing shallow. So Herrera, a drive to center, and we have 2 down in the first inning. Juan Rivera coming up. Interesting, too, when you match up Chris Young and Juan Rivera, checking in, hitting in the number 3 slot, who's batting .260, but has been doing very well. Chris Young has been worn out by the number 9 hitters. And that's really a surprise. The first pitch is off the plate, ball 1. So Rivera hitting a total of .260, 3 home runs, 23 runs batted in. The 1-0 pitch on the way is swung on, fouled off first. Coming over is Davis, taking a look but no play. 1-1 the count. For Chris Young, the first 6 innings that he pitches, he's very much on top of the game. His earned run average is 2.3. The opposition hitting in the 250s during the first 50 pitches. After 50 pitches, that's when Terry has to really watch. After 50, the opposition is hitting 304. After 76 pitches, the opposition is hitting 353. The 1-1 pitch is swung on, popped up in the right side. Murphy and Davis going out. It is Murphy making the catch. So the Dodgers go very quietly in the first inning, ring up 31. You know what I'm talking about. It's 1-0 Mets. Tejada, wild pitch to second, and David Wright on a 3-2 pitch doubled him home. Now in the second inning, Ike Davis, followed by Daniel Murphy, and then Knight Nickus, and Capuano about ready to go to work. Ike Davis is a big boy at 6'5", lives over in Scottsdale and takes a strike. He went to Arizona State. He's the son, you may remember, a Major League right-hand pitcher named Ron Davis. He spent almost 11 years in the big leagues, mostly with the Yankees and Twins. Strike one pitch to Ike. He has a look, and that misses. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Ike Davis, in his first 56 games, was hitting 158. His last 16 games, he's hitting 353, swings, doesn't get it, and a 1-2 count. So his average is only 201, but he has 10 home runs, 41 runs batted in. Strikes out a lot. That's been his big problem. He has struck out 70 times. Capuano into the windup. 1-2 pitch is a fastball on the outside corner, and Davis goes back to take a seat. So one away in the second inning, and the batter will be Daniel Murphy. Strikeout number 3 for Chris Capuano. Ike Davis looking at Capuano all the way as he went back to the dugout. And now Daniel Murphy checks in. Murphy, left-hand hitter, hitting 274, and Murph takes a strike. He has 2 home runs. He hit them both yesterday against the Cubs. He has 32 runs batted in. Basically a ground ball hitter. That's why he rarely hits home runs. Goes after a pitch down and misses. 0-2 the count. Murph went to the University of Jacksonville. He was the Atlantic Sun Conference Player of the Year and eventually drafted by the Mets. Strike 2 pitch off the plate. When he was playing for the University of Jacksonville, on the same team was the son of Mets Vice President Tony Bernazar. Tony went down to see his son play and decided that Murphy was ready to be signed. Murph hits a little ground ball to the right side, up with the Darius Kennedy to make the play. And we have 2 out in the second inning. They are just about ready to get started up in San Francisco.
Now batting catcher number 4.
Johnny Cueto, 9-3 for the Reds. Madison Bumgarner, 9-4 for the Giants. Couple of notes on that. The Reds have taken 2 out of 3 going head-to-head with the Giants. However, the Reds are struggling. They've lost 6 of the last 9 on the road. They do score almost 6 runs a game at AT&T Park. The first pitch now to the catcher, Mike Nickus. Nickus hitting just 183. He is without a doubt the favorite catcher. He's always catching Chris Young. The 1-0 pitch on the way. The right-hand hitter has a look and pays a strike. So Chris Capuano trailing 1-0 in the second inning. David Wright doubled in the run. And then Wright made a wonderful play on a good bunt by D. Gordon. 1-1 the count. Nicky is from Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada. Checks up, and they're going to look. Swings, says Todd Tishner. And the count 1-2. Mike's father was a prominent pro soccer player in England with the Plymouth Argyle. Then came to Canada, played with the Vancouver Whitecaps in the North American Soccer League. But he concentrated on baseball. The 1-2 pitch on the way. Mike pulls away. It's low and inside, ball 2. He was raised in these parts because he committed to Georgia Tech out of Westlake Village High School. He was a management major. Last name Nickeas. 2-2 the count. Right hand hitting catcher fouls it away. Mike going from high school to Georgia Tech, and that's where he was when the Rangers drafted him almost 8 years ago. He practices yoga, not a bad idea to increase his flexibility and his focus. Mets made a deal. They sent outfielder Victor Diaz to the Rangers, getting him. 2-2 pitch, swung on, fouled outside of third. 2-2 the count to Mike at 6 feet, 215-pounder, 29 years old. On deck, Chris Young. What a strike zone, huh? 6 feet 10. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mike Nickius. Capuano looks in, getting a sign from Matt Trainer. And the 2-2 pitch on the way, swung on, hit in the air towards left center field, cruising over and back a bit, Tony Gwynn, and that'll be that, a 1-2-3 inning for Chris Capuano. And at the end of an inning and a half, Mets 1, Dodgers nothing. Bottom of the second inning, Loney, Van Slyke, and Kennedy coming up against Chris Young, who has been plagued with physical problems, none more than the painful experience back in 2008. Albert Pujols was the batter, and he hit a line drive right into Young's face. And you can just imagine Pujols' power, the destruction. Chris Young sustained a nasal fracture, laceration to the bridge of his nose, walked off the field on his own, but he did have multiple fractures of the nasal bone. He had facial bones, a small crack in his skull, a deviated septum, and yet fought his way all the way back, and here he is. So Chris Young working now on James Loney, hitting .244, 2 home runs, 21 runs batted in. Outfield plays him straight away. Infield, however, swung around towards first, and James takes a strike, and the count 0-1. In looking at Dodger hitters going up against Chris Young, Loney hitting .353, 6 for 17, hits one up the middle. Great stop by Tejada to throw him out. So Loney hits what looks to be a base hit. Ruben Tejada makes a fine play, and the Dodgers with one away here in the second inning. That will bring up Scott Van Slyke. So Tejada, who is slick with the glove, takes a base hit away from Loney. The Dodgers, as you probably know, have lost 4 in a row. The pitch now into Van Slyke, and the count 0-1. Van Slyke, you may remember, had that pinch hit single to pick up his first major league RBI, and then later on had a game-winning home run back on the 20th of May. That was his first home run in his big league career. The 1-1 pitch on the way to Scott, and he takes low and away. 2-1 the count. So Chris Young, 33 years old, out of Big D, makes his home in San Diego. 2-1 pitch is swung on and missed. Off speed pitch. 2-2. Scott a chip off the old block, facing a Princeton basketball player, and I mean he was a good one. Chris Young, all Ivy League. Van Slyke fouls the next one off, and the count's still 2-2. They said that he might have been a second-round pick in the NBA draft. He was that good a player at Princeton. And back about 8 years ago, the Sacramento Kings approached him about playing in the NBA. They offered him a 2-year deal. 2-2 pitch is high, ball 3. However, Chris said, well, I just got to the big leagues and decided I couldn't walk away from it at that point. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Van Slyke swings and misses, and down he goes. So 2 out in the second inning, and the batter will be Adam Kennedy. A pitch up and off speed, and Scott way out in front. So Chris Young now going to work on Adam Kennedy. Kennedy has just 3 hits against him. As Young into his windup, over the top fastball is high, ball 1, 1-0. So Adam gets a chance to start. 1 ball and no strikes. Chris Young comes right back, and it's lifted to right field, not deep enough, however. Duda is right there to handle it. So 6 in a row goes down, and it starts to pile up now. 32 consecutive scoreless innings, 1-0 Mets. Single to Ruben Tejada and a double by David Wright. Now in the third inning, it'll be Chris Young, followed by Andres Torres, and then Ruben Tejada. Chris Young had a 3-hit game, and that's the first time that a Mets pitcher has had a 3-hit game since Tommy Glavine's days. Glavine did it about 7 years ago. Young had a couple of base hits. In fact, he had 2 hits in 1 inning against the Phillies. He takes a strike. 0-2 the count to Chris. 1-0 Mets, top of the third. We can tell you the Giants are leading the Reds 2-0 in the first inning. Strike 2 pitch is low on a check swing. Madison Bumgarner was staked to the 2-0 lead on a 2-out single by Angel Pagan. That scored one, and another scored on a wild throw to the plate. 1-2 pitch to Young, stroked down to shortstop. Gordon is up with it and throws him out. So Chris Young grounding to short, one away, and the batter will be Andres Torres. Say, don't forget Tuesday, 7:10, Dodgers and Reds. Fans with the first 30,000 tickets receive a Dodger Stadium 50th anniversary LA cap presented by Las Vegas. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. One away in the third. Here's Andres Torres, struck out in the first inning. Capuano into his windup. Left-hander ready and comes to the plate. Torres runs to bunt and then lets it go by. And a 1-ball, no-strike count. Last year, the Mets won 5 of 7 from the Dodgers, including 3 out of 4 here. The 1-0 pitch swung on and missed. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count. So Andres Torres trying to get something started. If he gets aboard, a rabbit would certainly be loose. He developed sprinter speed despite the fact he didn't even have shoes growing up in Puerto Rico. He bunts, good bunt. Trainer picks, throws, got him on a nice reach and stretch by Loney, and a fine play by Trainer. So Torres nipped it first on a good bunt. Trainer out, had to do a 360 and find his target, and Loney reached high in the air to pick it, and Todd Tishner, the umpire, was right there. Terry Collins will argue that Loney's left foot was off the bag. We can take another look. He reaches and just, I believe, kept his toe on the bag. So a fine play, especially by Matt Trainer, to even make it close. That was a good bunt. So 2 out, and Ruben Tejada coming up. The young shortstop singled, went to second on a wild pitch, and scored on David Wright's double. And then he took a base hit away from Loney in the second inning. And Ruben takes a strike. 0-1 to Tejada. Ruben from Panama. He's 22. He'll be 23 the 1st of September. He takes low, 1-1. And of course, anybody who followed baseball at all will remember a great infielder, Miguel Tejada. No relation. So Ruben is just starting. An even 6, about 165. The 1-1 pitch checked and no swing. 2-1 to count. For Tejada, pretty big pair of shoes to fill after sparkling Jose Reyes held on the job at shortstop. He's doing very well, batting .306. Capuano with 2 out and the bases empty comes back 2-1, and there's a line drive right at Kennedy's left ankle. So Tejada lines out. Mets go in order, and at the end of 2.5 innings, 1-0 Mets. Nothing. Bottom of the third inning. It'll be Matt Trainer, Tony Gwynn, and then Chris Capuano against big Chris Young. You know, in looking at the Dodgers, and naturally it's a number one topic of discussion, they failed to score in the first 2 innings tonight. So they've been scoreless now 32 straight innings. If you go all the way back to 1909, Dodger Ball Club was shut down 41 consecutive scoreless innings. However, you might bring that up to date and have a better idea of just how important a string of scoreless innings might be. And it's not, really. Here's Trainer, who will tell you why in a moment, as Chris Young into the windup, delivers, drops it in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Matt hitting .265, 2 home runs, 7 runs batted in, made a fine play on that bunt by Torres. The strike 1 pitch is taken in there, 0-2. The 1962 ball club. Now, that was a good team. They went 35 consecutive scoreless innings. That was a team that would have won the pennant. They lost by a nose to the Giants. Here's the strike 2 pitch on the way, and that's high. That team would have won the pennant, except Sandy Koufax came down with Raynaud's phenomenon, where his fingers on his left hand were ice cold, and he really couldn't feel the ball. That same team the next year won the World Championship and swept the Yankees in 4 straight. And that basically was the same team. And, of course, if you want to look at another pretty good ball club that they were shut out 17 times and still won the pennant. That was the 1966 club. So, yeah, it's painful to watch scoreless innings. Trainer chases one and they throw him out at first. So 1 out in the 3rd inning. And the batter now will be Tony Gwynn. That 66 team was shut out 17 times. They went into the World Series and was shut out 3 times by Baltimore, but it was a good club. So the point being, you can't just run away and hide when you have a string of scoreless. For the Dodgers, they might have gotten some fairly good news about Andre Ethier. He had, as I understand it, an MRI today. They said it's a strain, but they're not talking about the DL day to day. Meanwhile, little pop fly gone out into shallow right center, but gone out after it is Daniel Murphy, and we have 2 down in the 3rd inning. And the batter will be Chris Capuano. So 1-0 Mets with 2 out in the 3rd.
That's your pitcher, number 35.
But I think most people in baseball figure that you get Matt Kemp back, you get Andre Ethier back, and maybe shore up the pitching, getting Ted Lilly back, just to mention one, and Javi Guerra and Blake Hawksworth. And anyway, this can still be a very good ball club, but it doesn't figure to really get together until they all come back around the All-Star break. The pitch, Capuano in for a strike. Maybe, and surprisingly so, from what we gather, Mark Ellis might be able to come back ahead of Matt Kemp. The next one swung on and missed, 0-2. They figure that Mark Ellis possibly can come back before the All-Star break, and that Matt Kemp would come back shortly after. The strike 2 pitch is in there. Strike 3 called. That'll do it. So now it's 33 scoreless innings. And at the end of 3, 1-0 Mets. wireless receiver from AT&T U-verse. Visit AT&T.com/free your TV. Rethink possible. By El Pollo Loco, crazy you can taste. And by the full line of fuel-efficient vehicles at your Southern California Toyota dealer. The Mets lead the Dodgers 1-0 in the fourth inning on a gorgeous evening. David Wright, Lucas Duda, and Scott Hairston in that order. David Wright, who came into the game hitting .394 against the Dodgers, doubled Tejada home from second in the first inning. David just 2 points behind Carlos Ruiz and 8 points in front of Joey Votto. And, of course, remember, Votto and the Reds will be here starting Monday. So Capuano working on David Wright, one of the top players in the game. Ground foul. What really is amazing about David Wright, as good as he is, he just gets better. His batting average in the first 3 innings, .333. In the middle 3, .344. And in the final 3, .388. 1 ball and 1 strike to David Wright. The Mets have had 138 players appearing at third base since 1962. Towering fly ball into deep left center, and that baby's heading for the pavilion. So David Wright, a towering home run. For Wright, his 9th home run. He now has 49 runs batted in, knocking in both. And the Dodgers are down 2-0. For Chris Capuano, his 11th home run allowed, the same number as Clayton Kershaw. Pitch was down around the knees, and Wright just went down and got it. And David is certainly big enough, 600. He's about 6 feet, 200 pounds, and drives that thing out with ease. So 2-0 Mets. So Capuano trying to recoup as Lucas Duda comes up. There's where Wright is in Mets history, chasing Darryl Strawberry. 0-1 the count to Duda. One of the struggles, one of the many struggles the Dodgers have right now is the lack of power. You look at that home run by David Wright, and you realize the Mets have 63 home runs. Hard ground ball, Loney on his knees, but he makes the play. 1 away. The Mets have 63 home runs. Dodgers have only 45. And more than that, you know, the Dodgers have hit only 6 home runs this month. That's the fewest in the month of June since the 1984 Cardinals hit only 4. Now, 23 players have 6 or more home runs this month, including Jose Bautista, who has 13. And here the Dodgers are with 6. So 1 out. Here's Scott Hairston, robbed of a hit. Nice play by Kennedy. And boy, as that thing popped up back at second base, it will be Gordon. So 2 down in the 4th inning. And the batter will be Ike Davis. The last team to have 6 home runs or fewer in any month, ironically, the Mets of 2003. The Mets had 6 home runs in September back then. So Elian Herrera and the rest of the Dodgers trying to find a little power. Herrera does not have a home run. Kennedy doesn't have a home run. Rivera, a slugger in the lineup, has 3. Matt Kemp had 12. Andre Ethier has 10. Tony Gwynn doesn't have a home run. So the Dodgers can't stand in the middle of the ring and throw knockout punches with a club. They're going to have to do it with the so-called little ball. Big ground ball. Loney plays it off his right hip. Nice play. Down goes Ike Davis, but not before Wright does another thing right for the Mets. And at the end of 3 1/2, 2-0 Mets.
Tonight's game brought to you by Miller Lite.
Mets lead the Dodgers 2-0 thanks to Mr. Wright. He doubled in a run in the first inning and homered in the fourth. So 2-0 New York. Gordon, Herrera, and Rivera in that order. David Wright did something else very well. Gordon tried a bunt for a base hit, and it was a good bunt. And Wright made the perfect big league third baseman play. Charge, bare hand pickup, off balance throw to get him. And it's very important for the Dodgers. If they're going to give up home runs, they've got to challenge Chris Young. Remember, we tell you, base runners just steal all the time against him. Fly ball into right center, and it's going to drop. Picked up in center field by Andres Torres, and there's Gordon at second base. On that ball, Lucas Duda in right field started back. It's still a light sky, so when Duda started back, that cut him out of the play. And that left it up to Torres, but Torres was over into left center. And Duda couldn't catch up to it, nor could Torres, as they bumped together. So it's a tough night. The sun still fighting to stay alive. The lights have not taken complete effect. And Gordon puts it all together for a fly ball double. So that'll bring up Elian Herrera. Ruben Tejada directly behind D. Gordon. And a bluff sending Gordon back. I mean, Tejada couldn't be any closer unless he was his shadow. That's another play within the play. If a pitcher is looking in at the catcher and suddenly whirls and throws, he's really got to be part of a timed play. 1 ball and no strikes. Some catchers, for instance, and the shortstop or second base, whoever it is, will look in. Catcher might pick up a handful of dirt and just throw it aside. And as soon as he does that, the infielders know and the pitcher knows, okay, I'm going to turn the old daylight play, trying to get the shortstop between the runner and the bag. So like every part of this game, little things mean an awful lot. 1 ball and no strikes. And that's line to center. Torres has to go back. It's over his head, going to the wall. Ring the bells, alert the orchestra. The Dodgers score on a triple by Tejada. And it is 2-1 as Herrera beats the relay throw by Ruben Tejada, and the Dodgers are on the board. A triple over the head of Torres after Dee Gordon's fly ball might have been caught by Lucas Duda, but he lost it or misjudged it momentarily. Dodgers will take anything they can, and the Mets lead now 2-1. So that'll do it. 33 scoreless innings, and now it's history. And the batter is Juan Rivera. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Mets. 1 run, 2 hits for the Dodgers. Chris Young ready, and here we go. Two runs, 3 hits for the Mets. 1 run, 2 hits for the Dodgers. Elian Herrera with that long triple. For Herrera, who has 10 doubles, that's his first triple of the year. Rivera, meanwhile, asking for time. So Dee Gordon brings it in. A double followed by a triple. In the dirt. 1-1. With a runner at third, you check it. Chris Young does not have a wild pitch. One and one the count to Juan Rivera. Line foul into the chairs down the right field line. 1-2. Game 1 of a 4-game series tomorrow night. R.A. Dickey and Aaron Harang. Saturday it'll be Santana and Eovaldi. Sunday it'll be Dylan G and Kershaw. Then the Reds will be here for 3 next week, and then the Dodgers will go to Arizona for 4. A shot up the middle, and in comes Herrera to tie it up. Base hit for Juan Rivera. So Gordon doubles, Herrera triples, Rivera singles, and the Dodgers are even. And the batter now, James Loney. James Loney robbed of a base hit on a good play behind the bag by the shortstop Ruben Tejada. So the totals are identical. 2 runs, 3 hits, and no errors for each side. James always seems to perk up with home cooking. Big difference from what he does on the road. Off speed for a strike. 0-1. Mets scored in the first and in the fourth. The Dodgers have come back with 2 here in the fourth. Tied it up 2-2. And Loney pops it up around the bag at second, and it will be the second baseman, Daniel Murphy. So Loney pops up, 1 away, and the batter will be Scott Van Slyke. Chris Young on the road is really something. You know, at one stage in his career, for nearly 2 full seasons, Chris Young did not lose a start on the road. He went a record-tying 25 starts without a loss from June of 2005 until April of 2007. And when the streak ended, it was right here where he lost. 25 straight road starts without a loss had stood up since Allie Reynolds from 1948 through 49 with the New York Yankees. 0-1 to Scott Van Slyke. Adam Kennedy on deck. 2-2 in the fourth. Check swing, no swing. Todd Tishner. Brian Gorman behind the plate. Brian Gorman has been an umpire over 20 years. His father, Tom Gorman, a great umpire. 1-1 the count to Scott Van Slyke. Time. So in the inning, Gordon a fly ball double. Herrera triples over Torres' head, and Rivera's single picks him up, and they're even 2-2. 1 ball, 1 strike. Just off the plate. 2-1. Van Slyke hitting 188 with a home run, 6 runs batted in from his last time up. Big slow curve, again no swing. Early report, the Giants lead the Reds 2-0 in the first inning. And they're now in the bottom of the 4th. Madison Bumgarner has not allowed a hit through 4 innings, shutting down the Reds completely. 3-1 pitch, a fly ball to center. Torres is there. 2 down, and Adam Kennedy coming up.
Batting next, second baseman, number 3, Adam Kennedy.
Adam Kennedy flied to right field in the 2nd inning. The Dodgers signed a Cuban free agent who is playing and living in Mexico. His name, Yasiel Puig. He's only 21 years old, big fella. They gave him a lot of money, and they expect big things from him. That happened today. That's a strike to Adam Kennedy. Two in the 4th. And a strike, 0-2. When the Mets come up in the 5th, Murphy, Nickus, and Young. No balls, 2 strikes. 1-2. Dodgers are 9 games into 20 games in 20 days. So you have 7 here, 4 more for 11, and then the All-Star break. Dodgers trying to win their 44th game. Kennedy trying to uppercut that pitch high and away, and comes up empty. However, the Dodgers get it done. 2 runs in the 4th inning to tie it up 2-2. Going to the 5th inning in a 2-2 tie. The Mets scored in the first inning. Ruben Tejada singled and Wright doubled him home. Then Wright homered in the fourth. And in the fourth inning, after the Dodgers had gone 33 consecutive scoreless innings, Gordon a fly ball double. Herrera tripled over the head of Torres to score Gordon. Rivera singled up the middle to cash in Herrera. And the scoreless string was history at 33. So into the fifth inning, Capuano was even, working against Daniel Murphy, Mike Nickius, and then Chris Young. Murphy grounded out in the second inning. According to Terry Collins, you would call Daniel Murphy kind of a Thomas Edison, always trying to invent something, tinkering with his swing constantly. But then he hit 2 home runs yesterday, and Terry was saying he's found it if he just leaves it alone. This time a one-handed grab by Herrera, and down goes Murphy to go 0 for 2. So 1 out in the fifth, and Nickius coming up. You know, time's running out to vote for your All-Star selections. You can help send your favorite Dodgers to the game by voting up to 25 times at Dodgers.com. Log on to Dodgers.com, cast your ballot now. And by the way, voting ends tonight at 8:59 p.m. and several Dodgers very much in the running. You're looking at 2 of them, Kershaw and Ethier. So here is the Mets catcher and a strike. 0-1. Nickius hitting 181 with a home run, 12 runs batted in, having a very good month of June. One ball and 1 strike. From Canada and Georgia Tech. Lives in Atlanta. Very good catcher with a great arm. 1 ball and 1 strike. And he strokes that to center for a base hit. So Capuano saved by that one-handed grab by Herrera. Now gives up the single, and that'll bring up Chris Young. So we'll see what they do with Young. Among other things, he does not have a sacrifice. Of course, Chris has only had 5 at-bats, 1 hit, 2 runs batted in. A 2-2 tie in the 5th inning. Andres Torres on deck, and a 6-foot 10-inch hitter. And it comes as a shock, though, to realize he's not the tallest man on the squad. John Rauch, 6'11". Showing bunt. Nickius over at first, no stolen bases. Gets it down. That trainer makes the play to Kennedy. So the sacrifice advances Nickius. And the batter now will be Andres Torres. Well, it's time to get you thinking. Johan Santana threw the first no-hitter in Mets history. That was the 1st of June. Which 3 franchises have more than 15 no-hitters? It always was remarkable when you realize you had people like, well, among others, Tom Seaver pitching for the Mets. Club that began in 1962, but finally Santana turned one in. Line drive down the right field line. So Torres gets an extra base hit. Scoring breaks the tie. Brought in by Nickius. And it's a 3-2 Mets lead as Torres, who was 0 for 2, doubles to right.
Batting next, number 11.
Just slapped that pitch down around the knees and took it the other way. sliding block by Van Slyke, but no chance to make a play on Nickies. So 3-2 New York. 3 runs, 5 hits. Dodgers 2 runs, 3 hits. And here's Ruben Tejada. Single to left, scored a run, lined out to Kennedy, and has made a very nice play on Loney in the second inning. Ball 1. Tejada, the pride of Panama. His hands were very, very busy. The Mets have been trying to quiet the hands a little bit. So much movement in the beginning of his swing, it causes a bit of a hitch. See if he's quieted them down. And now Trainer's going to go out and talk to Capuano. For Tejada, who was originally signed in 2006, he first came up to the Mets 2 years ago. Pretty hard to take over the job, so down he went. Then he came up in 2011 and had a good year. He hit .284. They're not expecting any power from him at all. In fact, in his entire career, you'd have to go all the way down to the Florida State League to find out he had 4 home runs. That's not his style. Two and 0 the count to Ruben Tejada. So Chris Capuano, 5-0 at home, 9-2, and that man, David Wright, on deck. 2 balls and no strikes. Strike, 2-1. Torres with very good running speed at second and 2 out. Gwynn shading Tejada slightly to right center. And there goes Torres. That figured, and he's going to steal third. So Andres now has stolen a base in 5 straight games, and you could see Capuano just about gave up on him, concentrating on Tejada. I mean, he just about went into a windup. No glide step whatsoever, no chance for Trainer to even make a throw. 2-2 the count to Ruben Tejada. With a runner at third, you check Capuano, and he has 1 wild pitch. Andres Torres has now stolen 8 out of 10. Off speed, lifted to right center. Gwynn is there. So the Mets wind up with 1 run, 2 hits. They leave Torres at third. Nickies comes in with the run, and we're heading to the bottom of the 5th. 3-2. Andres Torres doubles in Nikias and then steals third. Nikias had opened up with a single with one out. For the Mets, they do that very consistently. By that, meaning they score with two out. And they lead the league in that. One of the things we talked about before the game. Fouled away by Matt Trainer. Struck out in the third inning. Matt 0 for 1. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Mets, 2 runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers. Tomorrow night, the knuckleballer, R.A. Dickey, against Aaron Harang. Dickey sitting quietly, making his own notes. He is 11-1 with an earned run average of 2.3. He has struck out 106. 32 2/3 straight scoreless innings earlier, breaking Kuzman's record. So it will be interesting to see him for sure. The dancer, the knuckleball. R.A. Dickey. Meanwhile, 3-2 Mets. Trainer trying to get something started. Down he goes as Young goes upstairs to nail him, and we have one away. Well, we gave you the trivia question about Santana finally getting the first no-hitter in Mets history, but which 3 franchises have more than 15 no-hitters? The Dodgers with 20. The White Sox and the Red Sox 18 apiece. By the way, the 20 Dodger no-hitters have been split down the middle, in case you wondered. 10 in Brooklyn and 10 in Los Angeles. Now there's one other question that might pop up. That's ball 1 to Tony Gwynn. Is there a franchise still working without a no-hitter? And yes, there is. The only franchise without a no-hitter now, the San Diego Padres. 2-0 to Tony. Popped up in the third inning. 0 for 1. And ball 3. Capuano on deck. Gwynn hitting .254, 17 runs batted in. Mets scored in the first, 4th, and 5th. Dodgers scored 2 in the 4th and are still a buck short. David Wright doubled in a run, homered for a run, and then Andres Torres doubled in a run, and the Mets sitting on a 3-2 lead. In there. 3-2. Fastball stroked, and here comes Torres, but he's going to have to play it on a bounce. So Gwynn, a line drive single to center with 1 out, and Chris Capuano coming up. Torres with great running speed, but just short. Capuano in what would appear to be a bunt situation, even though there's already 1 out. Capuano has 2 hits this year, but he is remarkable with the bunt. He has 10 sacrifices. Question is, will the Dodgers give up an out to get a runner in scoring position, or would Gwynn just try to steal second? Remember, we told you everybody runs on Chris Young. 91% success rate. Gwynn has stolen 10 out of 16. Capuano fouls it back on the bunt. 0-1. Ten sacrifices. He could open up a school. The next best, Kershaw, has 7. Oh and 1 as Clayton looks on. Gwynn is not going. The bunt in the air, foul. 0-2. Earlier in the game, there was a ball hit to center that looked like it was going to be a sure base hit. And Andres Torres was playing so shallow in center that he made the catch. Now, Capuano up there, and Scott Hairston is very shallow in left field, but they're going to try to keep an eye on Gwynn. On deck, D. Gordon. Mets 3, Dodgers 2, 5th inning. And he got it down. Sooner or later, you knew Chris would succeed. 11 sacrifices, getting Gwynn to second base. Capuano really can get that bunt down as well as anyone we've seen in quite a while. Now, here's Gordon. He bunted, and David Wright made a fine play to get him in the first inning. And then Gordon's fly ball double when the sky was light, and it looked like Duda took a step the wrong way, then tried to correct. Torres couldn't make a play, and Gordon's fly ball dropped for the double. Then Herrera, with the Mets outfield playing unusually shallow, Herrera just hit one over Torres' head for a triple. 0-1. With Gordon up, David Wright right at the edge of the grass. So he has to defend against the bunt, although he constantly looks over to see what Tony Gwynn is doing. 0-1. 0-2. Gordon has 16 runs batted in, hitting .229. So Tony Gwynn representing the tying run, 2 out, 3-2 Mets. Still 0-2. Dodgers in yet another 1-run game. Don Mattingly has been in 31 games decided by 1, 10 more decided by 2. 0-2. Ground ball backing up. Ike Davis hangs it for Young just in time. Very close. No runs, 1 hit, a man left, and at the end of 5, 3-2 Mets. Stadium. No score, a battle between Jared Weaver and Chad Billingsley. In the 5th inning, the Dodgers without a hit. Matt Kemp, a dribbler up along first. Weaver unable to make the play for an error, and Kemp's aboard. Matt then steals second, goes to third on the overthrow by the Angel catcher, and Blake DeWitt hits a fly ball to score Kemp. The Dodgers not only win 1-0, they win without a hit. The Angels had 5 hits and drew blanks. Let's go back to this one. Three to 2 in favor of the Mets. And here's David Wright, doubled and homered, hitting .362. And remember, he came in hitting .394 against the Dodgers. Remarkable young player. That's a strike, 0-2. And he makes an out. So Capuano strikes him out, and that's almost remarkable to say the least, the way he wears out the Dodgers' high fastball that might have even been out of the strike zone. So 1 out in the 6th inning. Capuano picking up his 4th strikeout, and the batter is Lucas Duda, who struck out, grounded to first. The ground ball he hit very hard at Loney. Strike to Lucas. 0-1. That's in there. 0-2. Duda, big fella at 6'4". Check swing on a breaking ball. Swing, says third base umpire Tony Randazzo, and that'll do it for Duda. So he's 0 for 3, striking out twice. 5 strikeouts for Capuano, and the batter Scott Hairston grounded out. Nice play by Adam Kennedy and popped up 0 for 2. Scott looks a great deal like his brother. There's no doubt that they're related. Scott's 32, Jerry 36. Yep, older brother watching. Scott strained the same left oblique muscle that prompted him to finish last year on the DL, but this time he did it in March, and he's had a chance to recover. Herrera, Trelawney, and a 1-2-3 inning for Chris Capuano, who jogs off, and at the end of 5.5, Mets still lead 3-2. very even. No walks, 5 strikeouts. Young has made 67 pitches, but he has to pitch the bottom of the 6th. Capuano worked the top of the 6th with only 73 pitches. But the difference boiling down really to David Wright. Wright with a double to drive in a run and a home run. Dodgers countering with the triple by Herrera to drive in 1 and Rivera's single. So 3-2 Mets. Herrera, Rivera, and Loney. Leon flied to center and then hit one over Torrey's head. Always shows bunt, rarely does bunt. 0-1. Leon hitting .254. One ball and 1 strike. Herrera has to be very happy to get home, and he immediately shows it by driving in 1 run and scoring the other. He had a very tough road trip. 2 for 31 on the corner. 1-2. Switch hitter has done some better hitting as a right-handed batter. Now 1 hopper to short, and there's Ruben Tejada. And we have 1 away in the 6th inning. You know, Wednesday at 6:10, that's the 4th of July and Military Appreciation Night. You can enjoy America's pastime and the best fireworks show in the city. Compliments of Northrop Grumman. All fans invited onto the field following the game to watch the show. So for tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Here's Rivera, popped up and single to drive in Herrera to at the time tie up the game. Mets lead 3-2. Rivera, one of the few Dodgers who did pretty well on the road trip. He hit .345. Juan came off the DL the 4th of June, and he's done well ever since, and there's a base hit to left field. Here's how the Dodgers scored if you weren't with us in the 4th inning. It opened up with D. Gordon leading off. He hit a fly ball into left center that dropped for a double. Then Elian Herrera hit one over Torrey's head. Andres played shallow, but this time he couldn't get it. Gordon scored. High fastball hit up the middle by Rivera. That cashed in Herrera. And the Dodgers had 2 to tie it up. However, the Mets came back. Nikias single to center, and then Torres doubled him home. So it's 3-2 Mets. Rivera the tying run at first, and here's Loney. Strike. Loney robbed of a hit by Tejada, who went up the middle to take it away from him. James popped up last time up. High fly ball, but playable. Scott Hairston at the other end of it. So Loney a lazy fly ball to left, and Scott Van Slyke coming up. Young has made 76 pitches with 2 out in the 6th. Capuano has made 73 pitches in his 6 innings. So 2 veteran pitchers really locked in. Tomorrow night, R.A. Dickey and Aaron Harang. Van Slyke struck out, flied to center, 0 for 2. Just called up from Albuquerque. Ivan de Jesus sent down to make room for him. Want to know the count to Scott. Ball 2. Nicky is pushing it out in front of the plate. Chris Young 1-1, 2-5 lifetime against the Dodgers. 3 years ago when he was pitching for San Diego. 1 win, 1 loss. High, 3-0. Adam Kennedy on deck. Van Slyke hit a 3-0 pitch for the big home run. So let's see if they turn him loose again. Nope. 3-1. Two out, 6th inning. Mets 3, Dodgers 2. Three and 2 on the foul ball. So he took 3-0. Green light 3-1, and the count now 3-2. Nikias reminding Young there's a runner at first, 2 out, full count. Rivera will be going on the pitch. Rivera goes. Slow curveball, strike 3 called. The last pitch in the world that Van Slyke was looking for. No runs to hit, a man left. At the end of 6, 3-2 Mets. Action has been. Then you go all the way down to Nikias, who singled and wound up scoring the go-ahead run. But really the boys who are doing it are up at the top. And of course, whenever the Dodgers play the Mets, the name David Wright is always prominently displayed. He doubled in Tejada in the 1st inning, homered leading off the 4th, and then swung and missed at strike 3 in the 6th. 7th inning, Ike Davis, Daniel Murphy, Mike Nikias. Davis struck out, grounded out, hitting 199, fouled away. Ike Davis gives you that good strike zone, 6'5", 205-pounder. He was a bat boy for the Pacific Coast League's Phoenix Firebirds when he was a youngster. Lives in Scottsdale. 1-1. And drives one down the right field line, hooking as it goes foul. We mentioned Ike is the son of former Major Leaguer Ron Davis. Tim Tuffle coaching at third for the Mets. knew Ron, also, of course, a teammate now. He said they're different. Ron was a talker, and Ike very quiet. Of course, Ike Davis was taking BP when he was 14 years old because of his father. He was batting against Hall of Famer Goose Gossage at Yankee Stadium. Nice way for a 14-year-old to get the feel of things. He even had a chance to hit in the cage with Derek Jeter, Tino Martinez. That's when he was a teenager to a Yankees old-timers game he attended with his dad. 2-2 to Ike. Still up there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Matt Trainer thought he had a play, but Ike knew it was foul. Ike originally was drafted in the 19th round by the Devil Rays, but he opted to take the scholarship to Arizona State. 2-2. Little chopper back to Capuano. Plenty of time. Low throw. Nice pick by Loney. Sometimes you say plenty of time, and that's the worst thing that can happen. You take dead aim. So Davis goes 0 for 3. 1 away. And Daniel Murphy coming up. Mets 3, Dodgers 2. 7th inning. Last we checked, the Giants were winning. We'll give you more of an update in a bit. That's a strike. 0-1. The Giants are leading the Reds 2-0, bottom of the 6th inning. Madison Bumgarner was pitching a no-hitter. Top of the 6th inning, Ryan Hannigan singled, but he was stranded, and that was that. And that's that for Daniel Murphy. 2 down, and the batter will be Mike Nikias.
Catcher number 4, Mike Nikias.
Chris Capuano is very, very effective, especially if Capuano gets 2 strikes. And we were just looking back through the books. David Wright hit his home run on a 3-2 pitch. Otherwise, with 2 strikes on the hitter, the Mets are 0 for 10. I think the 3-2 was on the double in the first inning. Just checking. High pop fly, Loney inside the line. So a very nice inning for Chris Capuano. He has retired 7 in a row, but he's still trailing 3-2. You can see pretty much the same story. The work's been done up at top, just like the New York Mets. For D. Gordon, a fly ball double to score the run. Herrera, that triple over the head of Andres Torres to knock in one and then score on Rivera's single. And then the rest of the lineup, very, very quiet. A lot of, as the players say, a lot of offers. So with that, we take a look at the bottom of the seventh on this beautiful evening. The Mets 3 runs, 5 hits. Dodgers 2 runs, 5 hits. Adam Kennedy, Matt Trainer, and Tony Gwynn. 0-1. Kennedy flied to right and struck out. They say if you are hitting against Chris Young, and he's 6'10", standing on a 10-inch mound, so he's throwing down. However, the hitters say the arm angle and the altitude, so to speak, gives you the feeling that the ball is rising the last 8 to 10 feet. And a high strike, 1-2. Belisario and Lindblom throwing in the Dodger bullpen. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Mets. 2 runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers. Still 1-2 to Adam. For Capuano, he is due to bat 4th here in the 7th inning. Young is due to lead off the 8th. Tim Burdick and John Roush in the pen. Roush is the boy who's even taller than Young. John is 6'11". Fouled away. We told you at the start of the game that if you get on base, you can run wild against Chris Young. The Dodgers have had one problem. They can't get on base. And now Kennedy strokes it for a base hit. Now Adam Kennedy is a very good and very knowledgeable base runner. He doesn't play a lot anymore, so he's not been involved in stolen bases. But in his long and very successful career, Adam's success rate is 75% against a pitcher who's given up a success rate of 90%. So let's see what all that means. Will they run? Terry Collins moving around in the Mets dugout. He has Burdick and Roush in the pen. Dodgers have Gwynn on deck. And a bunt is missed. 0-1. Three runs, 5 hits for the Mets, 2 runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. Matt Trainer has the tough job of playing about once a week. He does have a sacrifice. Adam Kennedy, held on by Ike Davis, will draw a throw. Should be a pretty good battle going on here between Kennedy and Young. Oh and 1. The bunt fouled at the plate. 0-2. It's a big at bat, of course, if he can't get Kennedy to second. You have Tony Gwynn on deck and then Capuano, 2 left-hand hitters. Burdick, the left-hander, in the pen along with Roush for the Mets. 0-2 to Matt. Swinging. Little pop fly to shallow right and caught by Lucas Duda. So Trainer unable to get the bunt down, tried to go the other way in a fly ball. Now Gwynn, and here comes Terry Collins. So we'll see if Collins is bringing a hook to get a left-hander in there to face Gwynn, and also to keep an eye on Kennedy. It would serve 2 purposes. Yep, Chris will call it a night. He did very well. Goes out leading 3-2, and we'll be right back. Two to nothing. Arizona won earlier today. They beat Atlanta 3-2. So for the moment, Arizona 4.5 back. The New York Mets bullpen has lost more than any other team. They've lost 17. They've also had 33 opportunities. They have blown saves 13 times. Tim Burdick, the left-hander, has inherited 32 runners, and 5 have scored. That's not bad. He's getting ready to pitch to Tony Gwynn. Burdick, out of Lockport, Illinois, went to Rice University, and working on Gwynn, who's hitting .258, popped up and single to center. Jerry Hairston comes out on deck, and that's a strike. 0-1. So Kennedy at first, and as we said, Terry Collins, by bringing in a left-hander, goes head-to-head with Gwynn, also keeps an eye on Kennedy, and Hairston tunes up, and John Roush is down in the bullpen, the right-hander. 0-1. Curved ball popped up behind the bag at second. Coming in is Torres to make the catch. Show you how shallow he plays. I mean, he caught that ball just off the in. I mean, just by the grass and the dirt. Covers a lot of ground. Now let's see. Danny Worthen, who at one time was with the Dodgers. Dan was here 2006 and 2007. A delightful guy. He's the pitching coach for Terry Collins, who was in the Dodger organization. So Jerry Hairston with his brother Scott in left field. Of course, you thought about a lot of brothers. You had the big three in the American League, the DiMaggio brothers. You had the big three in the outfield in San Francisco, the Alou brothers. And we're happy to have Jerry and Scott here. Scott 32, Jerry 36. Jerry is hitting .313 as a pinch hitter, 1-4-2. And ball one. Burdick has faced Hairston twice and has walked him twice. Kennedy, the tying run, and a strike. 1-1 at the plate. Tim Burdick, out of Illinois, originally signed by the Royals out of Rice University. He had Tommy John surgery. Burdick is 5'11", 195. Two and one. Kennedy, the tying run with 2 out. Drawing another throw. Tim originally signed in '94, so he spent a lot of time rattling around in the minors. Curve in the dirt, and that's going to get away. Nicky's throw is going to be offline, and the Dodgers now have the tying run at second base. 3-1 the count to Jerry Hairston. Curveball that got away. It wasn't really in the dirt. It went off the mitt of Nicky's, and we'll see if they rule that a pass ball. Might be a huge play. And it's going to be a pass ball, and that also means they're going to put Hairston aboard. So even though it means conceivably putting the possible winning run on base, Terry Collins is not worrying about a home run from D. Gordon. He is worrying about a 3-1 pitch to Jerry Hairston. So the pass ball moves the tying run Kennedy to second with 2 out. Gordon, thrown out trying to bunt by David Wright, had a fly ball double and scored in the 4th and grounded out in the 5th. And Adam Kennedy carrying the mail out there. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Mets, 2 runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. 7th inning, fouled away. Oh and 1 to D, hitting .228. Meanwhile, Chris Young hoping that he can hold on to the lead. 0-2. Kennedy at second, Hairston at first, 2 out in the 7th, 3-2 Mets. Fastball got him looking. So no runs, 1 hit, 2 left. At the end of 7, Chris Young can go in and cool off. 3-2 Mets. But a masterful left-hander began the game by striking out Andres Torres. Then he got Lucas Duda, followed by Ake Davis. Then he moved along before getting Wright and Duda again and called it a night with 5 strikeouts. And we're going to the 8th inning. So for Chris Capuano, David Wright hurt him, as he has hurt Dodger pitchers ever since David first came into the league. Capuano gives up 5 hits, 2 of them a double and an RBI to Wright, and a home run by Wright. Then the difference in the game, Nikias getting the single and the double by Andres Torres. Dodgers move the infield around and make a double switch. Adam Kennedy has gone from second base to third. Elian Herrera plays short. Jerry Hairston plays second. The new pitcher is Josh Lindblom. If you're keeping score, put Lindblom in D. Gordon's spot, and we're going to the 8th inning. So Lindblom will be asked to nail Omar Quintanilla, who will be hitting for Burdick, who relieved Young. Omar walks up, says hello to the plate umpire, and then checks in. Quintanilla is from El Paso, Texas. He is 5'9", about 190. He went to the University of Texas and was a first-round pick by the Oakland A's. Strike, 0-1. Quintanilla saying as little kids, they take a broomstick and hit rocks. Toss the rock in the air and hit it. He feels that really helped his eye-hand coordination. 1 ball and 1 strike. He led the Longhorns to a College World Series championship in 2003. Brought him back again the next year, but they didn't win. 1 ball and 1 strike. Crack bat, ground ball to Hairston, and we have 1 away. You know, Saturday, be here early for the chance to take photos of your favorite Dodgers on the field before the game. On-field photo day begins at 1:30, followed by the Dodgers against the Mets. And for tickets and more information, visit Dodgers.com/promotion. The Quintanilla grounding out to Hairston. 1 out. And the batter, Andres Torres, struck out. Tried to bunt and was nailed, and then doubled to right to drive in Nikias with the difference in the game. That hit him on the foot. So now the Dodgers are in a little more trouble because Torres loves to run. He stole third in the 5th inning, and he has stolen a base now in 5 straight games. Got him on the right foot and leg. So in a 3-2 Mets lead, they have a rabbit there at first in Torres. Torres with a steal at third, so he's stolen 8 out of 10 this year. And here's Tejada, single to left, lined out to third, and fly to center. One out, and they had best keep an eye on Andres. By the way, the paid attendance tonight, Eric Carroll's bobblehead night, 49,006. 49,006. Boy, this is truly an art to be a major league pitcher, concentrating on a major league hitter, and at the same time, very much of a major league base stealer in a tough 1-run game. And there goes Torres. The pitch, a strike, the throw. Got him. Nice play by Matt Trainer to throw a dart down there. Big out, 2 down. right-hand hitter at the plate, but it's the shortstop who broke for the throw. A little surprising. Normally, you have the other man at second base cover. Right-hand batter, you expect the second baseman to cover. Little ground ball to third, backhanded by Kennedy, who gets him, so it's a nice 8th inning, except the ball gets away and Loney drops it. That's a careless error in the sense it's an easy routine play. You do it all day long, every day. Throw is there, you backhand it, and you don't catch it. So Loney will draw an error. We'll see just how important that is. And what it does, it brings David Wright up. That's how important it is instead of the inning over. David has doubled, homered, driven in 2 of 3. And a strike. We told you that David Wright came into the game hitting .394 in his career against the Dodgers. Right now, you're looking at a .399 hitter. 0-1. In the dirt. Nice save by Trainer. Tejada holding at first. Tejada has stolen 1 base, but I don't think you would expect Ruben Tejada to run. You want David Wright to make sure he gets a full at bat. 1-1. Dodgers not taking any chances, take a step away. Loney's 4th error of the year gives David Wright a big opportunity. One and two. David Wright, when he homered in the 4th inning, it was not only a home run, I mean it was a mile high. Went back a good 10-12 rows into the left field pavilion. So David comes around. He has 9 home runs, 49 runs batted in. Tejada at first, 2 out, 3-2 Mets, top of the 8th. Breaking ball missed, 2-2. Wright's hit as many as 33 home runs for the Mets, driven in as many as 124. Go 3-2. Well, remember 3-2 in the 1st inning. Chris Capuano working so carefully after he had Wright 0-2. He went 3-2 and Wright then hooked one over third base and down the line to score Tejada. So Tejada will be going 3-2 with 2 out. On deck, Lucas Duda. Tejada goes, foul back. We'll again mention the fact how careful and how well Capuano does with 2 strikes on a hitter. The other 2 strike counts, the Mets hitters went 0 for 10. But the 1 2-strike hit, you guessed it, David Wright. 3-2. And ball 4. So in the inning, a hit batter, but Torres erased trying to steal. Then Tejada reaches on the error. Scott Elbert throwing in the pen. Wright walks on a 3-2 pitch. And Lucas Duda, left-hand hitter, who has struck out twice and grounded out against Capuano. And I think they're going to bring Elbert in to pitch against Duda. Yep. So Mattingly will make the move, and we'll be right back. Sunday. The Reds will be in for 3, and then Arizona, the Dodgers will pay a visit. Talking about Arizona, the Giants are leading the Reds 5-0, bottom of the 7th inning. Madison Bumgarner still has a one-hitter. Bumgarner was on base and scored on a triple by Gregor Blanco, the right fielder. So Scott Elbert, 2 on, 2 out, and Lucas Duda 0 for 3 against Capuano, and ball 1 to Lucas. The Trojan from SC. Lucas with a lot of sock, 11 home runs, 42 runs batted in. Another breaking ball, 2-0 the count. Terry Collins trying to pilot the Mets as he talks to Ike Davis. Fastball hit towards center. Gwynn is at the other end of it. So the Dodgers get that 3rd out. No runs, no hits, an error, 2 left. At the end of 7.5, 3-2 Mets. Double switch so that they can put the pitcher in Lucas Duda's spot. That would be Johnny Roush to bat in Duda. And in right field, Kirk Neuenhuis will be batting 9th in the lineup. John Roush, the one man that Chris Young looks up to. Chris Young 6'10", John Roush 6'11". Tallest player in Major League history. We've already told you the story earlier about the tallest human, irrefutable evidence. And now we've looked at 2 very much giants, and Roush will be starting off against Elian Herrera. Ball 1. Herrera flied to center, tripled in a run, and scored a run and grounded out. John Roush is out of Louisville, Kentucky, 6'11", 255. Went to Morehead State in Kentucky and was originally a 3rd-round pick by the White Sox. One ball, 1 strike. Off the plate, ball 2, 2-1. Waiting on deck, Juan Rivera and then James Loney. Roush came up with the White Sox. A slap bunt. Good bunt. No play. Elian Herrera slapping at the ball and gets himself a key hit. The Dodgers have the tying run with nobody out. Roush and Wright, neither one had a play. So Herrera's 2 for 4 with that clutch bunt single. Roush now perking to Rivera, who has popped up. Single to center and single to left. 3-2 Mets. New York 3 runs, 5 hits. Dodgers 2 runs, 7 hits. Very high, ball 1. Big John Roush, among other things, besides being 6'11", has a number of tattoos. He has Olympic rings on his left ankle. He was on the gold medal team in Sydney. He certainly felt that he had to commemorate that. 1 ball and no strikes. That's a strike. He has Roman numerals starting up around the neck, goes all the way down his spine. That commemorates his wedding day. The Chinese symbols are an homage, tall fire. That's to inspire himself. 1-1. Then later on, his wife gave birth to a little baby girl, Aubrey Elizabeth, so he has her footprints and her name and birthday on his right calf. What he did was take a piece of paper with the footprints from the hospital to a fellow who does the tattooing, and voila. High chopper up the middle, backhanded with the feed for 1, return for 2, a picture double play. So Murphy, Tejada, and Davis. And for Juan Rivera, that's the 9th double play into which he has hit. So Loney and Rivera have each grounded into 9. So 1 minute the Dodgers had the tying run aboard, and the next minute 2 out, bases empty. 4-6-3 double play. Good start by Murph, good turn by Tejada. And here's Loney, 0 for 3. And a strike. Three runs, 5 hits for the Mets, 2 runs, 7 hits for the Dodgers. And we're now in the 8th inning. Ground ball to Tejada. Dodgers done in the 8th. And at the end of 8, tough ball game. Mets 3, Dodgers 2. first inning. They added another in the fourth. Dodgers scrambled for 2 in the bottom of the fourth, only to have the Mets score in the fifth. And that's it. Ninth inning, 3-2 New York. It will be Scott Hairston, Ike Davis, and Daniel Murphy. Hairston is 0 for 3, grounded out. Good play by Adam Kennedy at second. Popped up and grounded to third. His brother got into the game. Jerry appeared as a pinch hitter and was walked intentionally, and Jerry is now playing second base. Ball one. Scott Elbert had to come in and got Duda with 2 on and 2 out. 1 ball and no strikes. 2-0. Scott Hairston batting .256, 10 home runs, 31 runs batted in. Brother Jerry has 2 home runs, 18 runs batted in, and a high fly ball, but appears playable. Rivera. So 1 out in the ninth, and the batter will be Ike Davis.
Coming to the plate, first baseman, number 29, Ike Davis.
Ike Davis struck out, grounded out, hit back to the box. Ike, the last 16 games, as we mentioned earlier, really perked up. 5 home runs, 20 RBIs, and a .353 batting average. But all that has done, it's given him almost 40 points. And it makes him a .198 hitter, so he's really struggling. Last year with the Mets, in 36 games, Davis hit .302, and the year before, in a full year, he hit .264, so he's way off his feed. 1-1. Ike with 10 home runs, 41 runs batted in. His percentage of strikeouts is high considering his plate appearances. 70 strikeouts. And a little flare to center. Wynn is there for the second out. So 2 out, top of the ninth, and Daniel Murphy coming up. Looking ahead for the Dodgers, they are due to send up Van Slyke, Kennedy, and Trainer. Bobby Parnell, who's been the closer for the Mets, is up in the pen. Daniel Murphy hitting .271, 2 home runs, and promptly laces it into right field for a base hit. So Murph goes 1 for 4.
Catcher number 4.
And the batter, Mike Nikias, who flied to center, singled to center, and scored a run. And his run is the difference in the game. And last time up, popped up. For Nikias, very happy that Gordon struck out in the 7th inning because Mike's pass ball allowed the tying run to get to second base. Hitting .188. Neuenhuis on deck. Ball 1. Good save by Matt Trainer. One ball and no strikes. Daniel Murphy over there at first with 2 out has stolen 5 out of 6. One and 0. In the Eastern League, about 4 years ago, when Murph was playing at Binghamton, he stole 14. But he is not a big base stealer. 1 ball and no strikes. Fastball missed. 2 and 0. Mike Nikias with Kirk Neuenhuis on deck. Nikias did a fine job handling Chris Young. 2 balls, no strikes. Fastball on the corner. 2-1. Waiting on deck, Kirk Neuenhuis. Dodgers with Capuano, Lindblom, and now Elbert. They have the last out in the 8th. He has 2 out in the 9th. Dodgers are due to send up Van Slyke, Kennedy, and Trainer in the bottom of the 9th inning. Van Slyke 0 for 3 has struck out twice. Trainer 0 for 3 has struck out twice. Kennedy 1 for 3 has struck out once. And Bobby Parnell in the pen getting ready. So for Terry Collins, the Mets won 5 of 7 against the Dodgers, 3 out of 4 here last year. And Terry trying to bring the first one home. 2-1 the count to Mike Nikias. 3-1. Neuenhuis, waiting on deck, is hitting .277 with 7 home runs, 25 runs batted in. So he might get a chance to swing. 3 balls, 1 strike. And low, ball 4. So with 2 out, a base hit and a walk, the Mets now will bring up Neuenhuis. Neuenhuis 0 for 5 in his last 3 games. He's only hitting .200 with runners in scoring position, but he's got an opportunity now to make an impression. Neuenhuis went to Azusa Pacific University and takes ball 1. As a high school junior football player, and he's 6'3", 215. He rushed for 267 yards in a snowstorm to lead his high school to a championship. That's a strike. 1-1. He was recruited by the Air Force, Colorado State to play football, but he opted to play baseball at Azusa Pacific. One ball and 1 strike. And he strokes it to right. Coming up and one-handing it for the out is Van Slyke. So no runs, 1 hit, 2 left, and we are heading to the bottom of the 9th. Van Slyke, Kennedy, and Trainer against Bobby Parnell. which they established in the 5th inning. A reminder, tomorrow night, the knuckleball expert, certainly the talk of baseball, R.A. Dicker, with a record of 11-1 and a brilliant ERA of 2.3. And look at the opposition batting average, less than 200 against Dickey. Aaron Harang with a 5-4 record will challenge him, and that'll be game 2 of the 4-game series. The Mets make 2 changes. Ronnie Cedeno will take over at second base for Daniel Murphy, and Bobby Parnell will take over on the mound. Out of Salisbury, North Carolina, he's 6'3", 185 with a record of 1-1. 5 years with the Mets. Originally drafted in the 9th round out of Charleston Southern University. He brings a lot of pitches to the game. Primarily, Bobby is a sinker slider pitcher, but he also has a changeup, pretty good splitter, and late last year, he learned a knuckle curve from teammate Jason Isringhausen. So if he's on, he'll keep the ball down, and Van Slyke will start. Struck out, fly to center, struck out again. Low and away, ball 1. Parnell's whole philosophy, make the batters hit it on the ground and get themselves out. At the knees for a strike, 1-1. His 4-seamer has been clocked as high as 100. But the 2-seamer anywhere from 89 to 95. That's a little breaking ball, a slider. 2-1 they count. For Parnell, it has to be the closer when Frankie Francisco came out with a sore side. Francisco had 18 saves. Fastball away. Parnell does not have a save. He's 1-1 for the year with an ERA of 3. It's virtually impossible to replace your #1 closer, but that's what they have to do. Adam Kennedy waits on deck. Line foul. 3-2 to Scott Van Slyke. Scott just called up from Albuquerque. Avandi Jesus was sent down. 3-2. And a cracked bat, a hopper to shortstop. The hopper is on. 1 away. So Van Slyke goes 0 for 4. 1 down in the 9th.
Batting next, third baseman, number 3, Adam Kennedy.
Dodgers have had 2 leadoff men get on late in the game. They had Kennedy open up the 7th inning with a single. He only got to second base because of a passed ball. They had Herrera open up the 8th inning with a bunt single, only to have Rivera hit into a double play. They've had 1 other leadoff man get on. That was Gordon, who hit the fly ball for a double in the 4th inning. Meanwhile, up north, the Giants are leading the Reds 5-0, bottom of the 8th inning. Oh, and 1. Foul ball, 0-2. Last year, April and May, Bobby Parnell had numbness in his right middle finger. They had an angiogram to determine the severity of the injury. Showed no major irregularity, so they believe it actually had been a blood clot around the right hand. But he's okay now. 0-2. Fouled away. 2 years ago, Parnell had trouble. He fractured a bone in his right foot, and that finished his year. Bobby Parnell. 1 out, 9th inning, 3-2 Mets. The Dodgers in one-run games, they played 31 of them. They're 18-13, down by 1 tonight. The Mets in one-run games, they have played 20, and they've split the 20. 0-2. Adam just keeps hacking away, hitting .225. Bobby Abreu is out on deck now. He would bat for Matt Trainer. Abreu is 3 for 8 as a pinch hitter. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Mets. 2 runs, 7 hits for the Dodgers. David Wright doubled in 1, homered for another. Another foul ball. The 3rd and deciding run for the Mets in the 5th inning. Macias, the catcher, singled, and Andres Torres in center field doubled him in. And that's it. Dodgers scored their 2 in the 4th. Gordon doubled, Herrera tripled, Rivera singled, and that was it. Off the plate. Parnell will be 28 in September. Down and dirty, new ball put in play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's what he tries to do, keep the ball down, make you kill worms. Dodger crowd tonight, 49,006. 49006. 2-2. And a ground ball to the right side. Nice pick by Ronnie Cedeno. And the Dodgers are down to their last out. Matt Trainer is due up. He's not going to come up. Clayton Kershaw, who will pitch the final game of this 4-game series, watching Bobby Abreu approach the plate. The Dodgers are faced for the 2nd time this year at a 5-game losing streak. But it's a little worse than that. After that bad road trip, they're also faced with the prospect of having lost 9 of the last 10. So 2 out in the 9th. Here's Abreu. They're in the top of the 9th inning at AT&T Park. Giants 5, Reds nothing with 1 out. So it could be moving day for the Dodgers. Having been in first place for so long, having had a 7.5 game lead on May the 27th, really just a month ago, they're now on the edge of moving out of first place. And there are 2 outs in San Francisco. 0-1. High fly ball down the left field line. Scott Hairston is there, and that's the ball game. So the Dodgers come home and bow to Mr. Wright. For the Mets, 3 runs, 6 hits, no errors. For the Dodgers, 2 runs, 7 hits, 1 error. The winning pitcher, Chris Young, he's now 2-1, 3-5 lifetime. Chris Capuano suffers the loss despite the fact he pitched so well. Capuano is 9-3. 2nd game of the series tomorrow night. It'll be Dickey and Harang. Hope you'll be out here with us if you possibly can. And if you care for Bobby Parnell, he made 16 pitches. So with all of that, we will wish you all a very pleasant good evening.